Hi, welcome back. And we have a 69 H1 here, a barn find, and the owner doesn't want it restored, but we're going to put new tires on and we're going to get it running. So let's do a little walk around. Rims don't look to be too bad, though they may clean up. Hard to say. And we do have the cover for this. It does kick over, so it's not seized. Gas tank appears to be in good shape. Let's have a look. Look at the light. Yeah, you know what? It's a little rusty in there, but it's more surface rust. So that will clean up quite nicely. And we have the speedometers. It's got 20,000 original miles to about the glass, but we can pull everything off and put new glass in. Yeah, we'll just lift the seat up. Well, first thing I noticed, we're missing the grill over that, but this looks in nice shape yet. That's good. And we'll just take a little walk around. I think most of this bike will clean up really well. As you know, with these old girls, the CDIs fail. So first job, we're going to check for spark. If it's all good, we're going to pull the carburetors off, put a hose down to the crankcase, check for oil, because you do not want to start this if there's oil in the crankcases, because your chance you'll bend a connected rod. So let's check for spark. Let's see if we have spark. Where is the key? Well, look at that. Perfect. Now we've got spark. And next job is the carburetors. And then we'll check the crankcase for excess oil. Well, we finally got this off. I can say this was a huge pain in the, it was literally stuck on there. And I don't know if you can see it. I haven't seen this before. Little extra, if I can see it. You can see the gasket. Never seen that before. Anyway, maybe these weren't tightening up. All right. So, on to the next carbs. So I went ahead and I got the carbs off to make things a little easier. So basically, this is my little tool. And basically how it works is you just insert it down in there. And what I do is I suck on this end, and you can hear the oil that's in there. And there is really nothing in this crankcase. There is nothing, which is pretty remarkable. But as you can see, I cleaned a lot of it. There's a lot of grunge here. And there's a lot down way underneath here as well. So that'll have to be investigated. Welcome back. It is about a day or two later, and I took the day off. I took my granddaughter to see Santa Claus. Then I took her down to see the Santa Claus parade. So that's a good excuse. Anyway, note, Kawasaki Triples Canada. You can't get these anymore, can you? Anyway, let's have a look inside the carbs and see what we find here. I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty clean, but I've been surprised before. All right, let's see what we find here. Actually, not too bad. Look pretty good. So we'll get them apart. That is, the little needle is stuck. And, well, that's interesting. I don't see a pilot jet in there. Let's see if I can get that little needle out. She was stuck. Oh, it is down there. It's just a couple of bugs, I guess. Oh, you know why didn't it come out easy? We are lucky. A little bit of powder on that. While I'm waiting for the first carburetor to clean, I had issues with my 1971 Kawasaki A1S. It would not, it was very difficult to start, and when it ran, it wouldn't idle. It's not what you think it is. It uses the same CDI boxes, almost the same CDI boxes as the early H1s, and they require a good battery and a lot of voltage. So I decided to check my battery. Every cell has 1 or 2 balls, and that is after a full charge, and that explains why the bike doesn't want to run. If I put a battery charger on it, it starts up first kick. I did run into this problem once before, a couple of years ago, on my A7 SS, and I put a new battery in it, works fine. So these old girls, these old CDIs, H1s or the A series, they require a good battery. So keep that in mind if your bike's having difficulty in starting or it doesn't want to idle. Check your battery. Okay, I got everything back together, but one thing I should point out is that the float height on these is taken from, can you see it, this area right in here without the gasket, and you measure 25 millimeters up to the top of the float. The other thing you have to check for is, are the floats equal on both sides? And a lot of times they are not. You measure one, could be 25, this could be 23, or could be 26 or 27. I've seen that quite a lot. The other thing that it was brought to my attention, I did a carb for a guy, a 500 triple, a couple of carbs, and I set them all to 25 millimeters, every single one of them. About a month or so later, he wrote back. Now, I'll say he used a carb kit. Those carb kits you get off eBay or whatever it is, they're junk. You can still get the McCuney needle and jet seats. You can still get McCuney pilot jets. And Ivan jet kit you can buy out of New York. Make a big difference. Don't use those junk carb kits. Anyway, he writes to me and he says, I got the floats all wrong. I did. What he did was, and some of us, you will know this, the float height, according to Kawasaki, is roughly 23 to 25. And everyone sets it to 25. That's the standard height. There's also a float level. In all the books, the float height is classified as 29 millimeters, whatever the number is, and that's what people go by. And that's what he did. So be careful. There's a difference between float height and float level. Float level is the higher number, 29 to 30, whatever that is. Look it up. I don't use that. I use the old-fashioned way of measuring the float height. So just keep that in mind if you look up figures. Like I say, they're all, just set them, the H2s, H1s, 25. All right, so it's the next day. It's still a little cool out, and I still haven't got the heat on the garage, but I've got the other two carbs on. And right now I'm just putting on this one here. They had, I'm thinking this bike had chambers on it at one time because the main jets were 105s. I got the correct 100s in them now. And now, there we go. Well, sticking a little bit. There's it just hanging up there. There we go. And get this lined up. There we go. And I do have the air filter out, and I'll show you that in a second here. I'm going to have to order a new K&N filter for it. But my goal is to get this together so at least I can start it and then I can sort that out. Oh yeah, this was a sticky one, wasn't it? All right, and here is the air filter. As you can see, look at that. So we're just going to put a K&N replacement filter in. And I'll get that on order in the next couple of days. Well, it's another day in the shop. And as you can see, I have the back wheel off. And I'm waiting for rear brakes, which will be here in about 2 weeks. I can't find any here, none whatsoever. So that's the holdup. But I will have the tire on and everything in a couple of days. And I'm going to clean up the rim, and I'll just give you a quick look. Rear brakes, and they are worn down to about 1/8 of an inch, so they need to be replaced. The axle would need to be cleaned up. It was we had to hammer it out. And the rear wheel we're going to take outside here, and we're just going to scrub it up. You can see the rust. Well, I got the tire on and I got the rim cleaned up. There are a couple of little spots on here that there, but you know what? It cleaned up much better than I anticipated. So good wheel. It's been 2 weeks since the last time I was in here working. I've got the sprockets on, I'll show you that. In the meantime, I've also got the tire on, and I'll show you that. But also, I've got the mufflers cleaned up. And there's a little video clip I'll post. They're pretty bad. They cleaned up really well. I'm impressed. So I'll go ahead and I'll get those on right now, and then I'll show you everything else. There we go. Now I had the foot peg here someplace. Whatever I did with it. There it is. That's what happens when your bench gets cluttered, eh? Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll put the rest of the screws and the bolts in. And the other item that come in is the rear brake cable. So let's go ahead and let's get that on. Get the washer on, cotter pin. Whoops. Come on. Sucks when you get old, your eyes aren't what they used to be. Okay, I'm going to try this again. And by geez, I got it. I think they train monkeys to do this, don't they? And now, put the spring on, the brake light switch. That's on. Get that down in here. Perfect. Okay. Now for the little pin here. Voila, the only item I don't have is the adjuster nut because it was seized onto the last cable. Despite the heat, I couldn't get it off, eventually just twisted. I may have to try to drill it unless I can come up with a good used one. So now it's time, I'll make a little tour. Okay, so this is, well, as you can see, the new cable's on. Mufflers aren't bad for '69. Like this bike has been sitting in a barn for a lot of years, and why did they paint covers black? So the owner wants these taken off at some point and painted. The screw I have to replace, can you see it? They put a bolt in right there. So my buddy has a couple of carbs, so we're going to steal a screw. They're all roughly synced and they're ready to go. Header pipes aren't bad despite the age. Front brake was all cleaned up. The rim come up really nice. So I got all the grunge off. The axle was seized in here. Took a lot of heat. Didn't discolor to get that out. Cleaned up the drum. It was quite rusty inside, but the brakes are still good. New Dunlop K70 tires. This was just a mess all through here. Got that all cleaned up. This side here, this pipe come up really good. I had to put a used clamp I had sitting around as well as this one. So basically, other than the shocks, it is basically good to go. Well, that's it for today. It may be another week or two before I can actually get the old girl fired up. And when I do, I'll get the cameras rolling and see how it runs. Man, you have to love these, don't you? The RD 350s. I know that 350 triples were nice, and the Kawasaki A7s were nice, but you can't beat these, can you? Anyway, until the next video, take care. I'll see you then. Well, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks now, and it is January 2026. Today is the day we're going to attempt to start this 69H1. So I got everything hooked up and cross our fingers. Let's see what happens. Key on. That was good. Oh, might help if I had that hooked up. Wow, amazing. I'm probably running out of gas. So I'll fill up my bottle and we'll give it another shot. All right, so I got now with my sync tool, I got them so all the 3 carbs are now idling equally. And I just got to check, make sure all these slides are lifting as well. And it sounds pretty great. 40,000 miles. Wow. Isn't that great? Been sitting since what, 30 years? Couple of kicks, away she goes, and the motor sounds pretty good. Now it's just a matter of getting the air cleaner assembly back on, and can't go for a ride, still snow out there. So I'm happy, my buddy's going to be happy, and we may even have this at a show coming up in a couple of months. All right, it's the next day, and look at this. This really sucks, doesn't it? Especially for guys like us who ride bikes. Anyway, time to go in and get that air filter on. Let's get going, I guess. Get that ripped open. I got my screw. I'll go to the other side and we'll get this installed. Okay, you can hear my heater kicked in. So I made a goof because I haven't done one of these in, oh, I don't know now, 20 years. So I put the boot on, as you see in the video. I forgot the carburetor has to go on first, then this. My mistake. That's what happens when you haven't done one in a lot of years. Now on to the outside ones. All right. It was a bit of, because the rubbers aren't, well, they're soft, but they're not that soft. And they were a bit of a struggle to get into here. But they're all on. And I would, at some point, I would almost replace all these anyway. But that's not the job for today. It's been about, I would say 2 weeks, maybe, since I've had it running. It's been cold, miserable. We've got about 3 feet of snow out there in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. It's been snow, shovel your driveway, snow, shovel your driveway, off and on. Anyway, spring's still a long ways away, but I'm going to show you what we have left to do, and that'll wrap this up until spring. But I'll show you right now what we got left. So after running the bike for a bit, I noticed a fair amount of oil in here. So where was it coming from? And if I can focus, that line, can I get in here? Right there, that goes to the left-hand cylinder. Well, there's a little bit of air in it. As I look down through this way, there was a bit of air. I suspect, although this is tight, it's either leaking here at these washers or right at that union there. That's where it's leaking. So I think it's sucking air and then blowing out. I don't know. I've seen this before. But regardless, cover's got to come off anyway, as I mentioned before, so I can get everything painted. So this is really all I have left to do. And I'll tackle this in the spring. It's minus 15 right now, going down to minus 30. We have 2 feet of snow and even more coming. Snowmobilers are loving it. Diehards like me, no, I'd rather be out riding. And speaking of riding, come probably April, May, when I can get out, I'll put the GoPro on. We'll go for a ride. I'm itching to take this for a ride. I like to compare it to my H1B. Now, I know these make with these, the air cleaners here, they make a honk. I know some people don't like it. My H1B has a snorkel on it. Makes it a lot nicer to ride. But I like to see how this works. And this still as I mentioned, still has the bridge ports. So I like to see how it goes. And if you like what you see, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the spring riding this. Take care, and thanks for watching.